Sorry about everyone's wait. I'm in the studio right now with Gene Decode. We have been trying to work through some tech stuff. Gene, are you there, sir?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you coming on PPN. This is broadcasting loud and clear from our channel on your channel over here. Also, to the thousands, hundreds of thousands that are already watching. Gene, just to let you know, we're well over 300,000 people already watching us live. So God is good every day. But I don't want to take anything away from Gene. I know Gene, you got me excited. I have to be just brutally honest with you. When you sent me a text message out of the blue, I know we were planning on doing a show together at some point. I know you have been slammed with all the tech stuff that you got going on your end and your platform and things of that nature. But wanted to get you on so you could obviously, you say, from what I'm understanding, this is going to be probably the best decode that you've come across. Is that what I'm understanding? Is that right?
A lot of time into this one. God told me it had to be done really quick because they're trying to control the narrative. We've got to get in front of it. So
yes, sir.
Got in this decode. Put about 3 days of work, about 8-9 hours a day. I worked till 4 a.m. on this one.
Wow.
Again, putting more information into it. It's really important. Also, a lot of things going on that need to come to light, and there's a lot of information. And of course, the mainstream media is pumping out the lies and all of their narrative control. They always do. So I'm really appreciated that you have when I texted you and said, could we do an interview, right, you said yep, tomorrow. So really appreciate that, because this needs to get out. And had contacted other places and they couldn't get me on yet, so it can't wait. So really appreciate you getting me on, Jess.
Man, I appreciate you. Well, I just want to be quiet and I want to listen, and you just roll with it. Anything you need help with tech wise, you just let me know. Otherwise, you have the floor, sir, and let's go with it.
All right. Thank you, Chaz, and thank you, God, for getting me on point. So I'll share things and roll. It's going to be I got quite a bit of information, so I'll probably be close to a couple hours here. So
yep.
First, I just wanted to start kind of fun and, get us with a good sense of humor. God has an amazing sense of humor. I call this Raiders of the Lost Ukraine.
Oh, that's funny.
Kind of fun. It's just a fun way to start there on that. And then the next item I've got is to immediately start into the document that I've been making up on all of this information. So you see my document?
Yes, sir, I do now. Absolutely.
Okay. Ukraine and World Information Update. Map of the Ukraine with the Russian Federation on the north and eastern side. Here's the Crimea, Belarus, Poland, Romania, Hungary, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, touching on two different parts. And then, of course, the Republic of Moldova. We all heard Trump in a recent rally going China, and the media, and of course Google and all the search engines have made it really hard to find that. Yeah, there are actually 4 Chinas in Ukraine, and every single one of them has biolabs. So I was able to search not on your regular search engines and find a bunch of this information. You can go to these links. Biolabs, the lady that does this link actually shows how Google Earth, when you go to this, they cut out. So the mountain goes over, drops suddenly down, and then continues, where they cut out a piece of the screen where you would see buildings and things like that. So I highly recommend people go see that link. Let me see if I hit, well, it's long. So I'll let people just copy this on their screen and they go to that, because it's going to be a long decode anyway. Also, I looked at, so that is China Diovo. Then also in Schiphol, China, they had on the Google satellite map the latitude, longitude of it. So if it doesn't exist, it's kind of bizarre. You can go to it on Google Earth and get that long. Then you have here more China Diovo, Ukraine City. Then in the Carpathians, in the Carpathian Rus in the borders of Slovakia, Poland, Hungary, Romania. Mm-hmm. So that is all through this area are now wanting their independence too.
Yeah.
So that information is out. Thus far, there are 33 bioweapons labs that have been, the Russians have taken and cleaned out in the Ukraine and then destroyed. The partial listing of these are in, I've tried to figure out how to put Cyrillic letters in this, so I've spelled it as close as I can with English letters. Mm-hmm. 4 in Kiev, 2 in Odessa, Chernobyl, all under Chernobyl. And there's massive servers there too that they have. Same thing on Hunter laptop is on the Chernobyl servers. Mykolaiv, and I'll go into the laptop too on this. I'm not going to be able to pronounce these. Ahimpo correctly. Kharkiv, 4 in Kiev, Kherson, Uzhgorod, Ivano-Frankivsk, 3 in Lviv, Abid, Benur, Tyafoniv, 2 massive dumps underneath the Donbass region, where they're fighting really heavily right now in a huge factory. And they brought helicopters out to that factory. You can guess why. Kind of obvious. 2 in Dnipro, Vinnytsia, Ternopil, China Schiphol, China, and then China Diev, and then China Diovo. All of these are the cost to the U.S. taxpayers who are set to fund this through Pentagon programs of over $2.4 billion. Russia has announced that the over 33 biolabs of the over 30, sorry, that there are over 30 biolabs on the U.S. and China border as well. And here's a link people can go in and listen to that news broadcast and information about that. Where they're talking about the gentleman is talking about the biolabs on the border of China and Russia. All of this has been arranged from the Pentagon through Pentagon programs with Satoru and Big Mike, Hillary, Joe, Smokey Joe, and Hunter through AstraZeneca, company Metabiotic Inc., which is a data collecting service worldwide program working for Black & Vetch engineering firm that is the main supplier for the Pentagon of the equipment for biolaboratories around the world. Nathan Wolf, founder of Metabiota, is a partner of Peter Daszak, and I'm pretty sure everybody knows who Peter Daszak is now, from Eco Health Alliance, which is where Anthony Fauci was funneling money for the gain of function project that was collaborating with partners in Wuhan, China, as well as Malaysia, Chulalongkorn Hospital in Thailand, Duke National University of Singapore, and in the U.S., Uniformed Services University, Chapel Hill, and Duke University Durham. All of this information is proven both in the servers that were in Chernobyl. It's on Hunter's laptop, as well as the huge servers in Chernobyl and a few other locations now that have been seized by the Russian military, and they're going to be revealing that. They already have all of that information. And the Hunter laptop has been sworn in as evidence, and I'll go into that a little bit more in ongoing legal situations. The MSM had constantly denied the existence of that for years. Now they're having to backpedal. So that laptop is from congressional testimony sworn in. To see it, CNN, New York Times, Washington Post denied it for years. Now they're saying, yes, there is. It's the laptop from, from the place down under, so to speak. Additionally, Ghislaine and Epstein made large contributions to this research as well, both in dollars, massive dollars, and in children. Literally children to be experimented on the facility in the facilities in the domes worldwide, but especially in Ukraine. And so there's a link where people can go watch that. See if that one will actually come up here. I'll have to unshare and reshare. So this is Tucker. Many people probably have heard this already, but this is Tucker talking. If it'll come up here in my computer.
TV, no thanks. Then if you told us that not only did the administration fund these secret biolabs in Ukraine, but that they then failed to secure the deadly contents of those labs before the Russian invasion, an invasion they knew was coming, an invasion they helped encourage. If you had told us that 4 days ago, we would have dismissed you as a nut.
So I'm just going to page through this.
And then Biden's State Department officials. These were not exactly objective sources on this subject, but still, the story seemed definitive. It was totally emphatic. Quote, Russia has teamed up with China to further amplify the false claim of U.S. labs in Ukraine. Okay.
So another person who's important
to apologized for that. And
is this person. In all of this, she is massively important. Ilinsky, I'll call him that because he's saying he wants the letter Z stricken from the languages of the earth because the Russian tanks and military put it on. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't want us to use the letter Z. So Ilinsky and this lady are going around the world. They were in Greece recently, and it's a travesty what they did in the Greek parliament and what they had an Azov in their not forthright type. And she precedes him everywhere she goes. He goes. He's doing the speaking tour all over. He was in Ireland. He's been all over the place. Poland.
That's how DC works. Mm-hmm. Tori Newman is now Joe Biden's Undersecretary of State in charge of Ukraine, and she knows a lot about Ukraine. Kept getting quoted because that's how DC works. Tori Newman is now Joe Biden's Undersecretary of State in charge of Ukraine, and she knows a lot about Ukraine. In 2014, Tori Newman engineered a coup in Ukraine in the name of democracy, of course. So she is a highly informed source.
Does Ukraine have chemical or biological weapons?
Ukraine has biological research facilities, which...
Let's play semantic tap dance again. This is the deep stick main thing.
Mm-hmm. In fact, we are now quite concerned Russian troops...
draw people's attention. Victoria Nuland.
Russian forces may be seeking to gain control of. So we are working with the Ukrainians on how they can prevent any of those research materials from
facilities. What? Like the secret biolabs Ukraine definitely doesn't have? Ukraine has those? Yes, it does. And not only does Ukraine have secret biolabs, Tori Newman said, whatever they're doing in those labs is so dangerous and so scary that she is quite concerned that the so-called research material inside those biolabs might fall into the hands of Russian forces.
So I recommend people watch that entire piece. Really powerful on that. So I'll go back to my document now. I'll pull it back up here real quick. So as I was saying, this interlacing crime network of the Bidens, Soros, Clintons, and other big crime cabal, deep state, satanic families with the Ukraine and World Biolabs through EcoHealth, Davos Open Society, World Economic Forum, group funding, as well as the illegal oil, drugs, human trafficking, money laundering systems, and weapons making and trafficking, and all the inside trading and manipulation worldwide is all on the servers in Ukraine, as well as the Hunter laptop, which is the smoking gun to bring it all down. Mm-hmm. So if this pulls up real quick, I'll share this. This is how one Ukrainian billionaire funded Hunter, President Zelensky, and the neo-Nazi battalion. So people can go through this article, ties a lot of this massive money scheme that they had, and the laptop will bring it all down. And the Ukraine will bring all of this down. It's a massive. This is why they're really upset about what's going on and pumping this narrative to the depths and strength and consistency that they are. So all countries bordering Russia have U.S. bioweapons labs in them. Tbilisi in Georgia has the Luger Center, which is 17 kilometers out of Oceania military base, U.S. Army Medical Research Unit in Georgia. An acronym is USMARU-G, along with private contractors, all have diplomatic immunity under the 2002 U.S.-Georgia Defense Agreement. This facility researches airborne anthrax, tularemia, hemorrhagic fever, and other viral diseases. So there's a couple links that people can go to and listen to this amazing woman that has gone out and talked about all of this. I'll just open this a little so people can see a little of it, and then we'll move on quickly.
Been operating in clinical laboratories in 25 countries, all based on the US main rivals, Russia, China, and Iran. And why has the number of deadly outbreaks in all those countries increased dramatically since the start of the military program of the United States in these countries?
I would just say unequivocally and undeniably, U.S. does not have a military biological weapons program.
Yeah.
And the statement. Number two, we have been working, and I do know for the Department of Defense, they've been working with partners in parts of the world to ensure that those laboratories, and we train them on how to do diagnostic tests on these.
So we don't actually have them. We're just training people in them. And we funded them to be created and put all the materials and stuff in there. So I really recommend people go watch those two links. One is just the other where it's not hosted on another platform. And so she goes through all of these biolabs all over the world, sharing information. She really is punching on this, so she is definitely a powerful warrior. Additionally, there's labs in Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan, which border Russia. Then near Russia, there's lab in Uzbekistan, others all over the world: Bangkok, Thailand, Tanzania, Uganda, Nairobi, Kenya, Nigeria, Mozambique, Cambodia, Vietnam, Philippines, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, Mongolia, Pakistan, Malaysia, Myanmar, Laos, Afghanistan, Iraq, Jordan, Senegal, Guinea, Sierra Leone, Cote d'Ivoire, I'm sure I didn't pronounce that right, Liberia, Cameroon, South Africa, Armenia. The Biden-Obama administrations have also been overseeing for 360 illegal bioweapon laboratories in the 33 aforementioned countries and others highly likely, all paid by U.S. taxpayers through Pentagon programs which have used pathogens of birds, bats, reptiles, mosquitoes to create deadly airborne viruses such as anthrax, Africa swine fever, tularemia, bubonic plague, tetanus, and many others that are all now able to be vector-borne, that means through insects, and are able to be targeted to specific genomes of humans, such as Slavic, any other group, even down to very small groups. They can target specific groups like they did with 19, where the uptake targets Caucasian people by 56%, Black people by, I think it's 37, for the K26R modification, which is theirs, the Black nobility, the uptake target is 0%. It means how much it binds to it easily. This is nothing less than the Georgia Guidestones depopulation New World Order depopulation plan to unleash on the general public with their agenda as stated on the Georgia Guidestones, as you can see here. And you can go to these links and look up information if you don't know about the Georgia Guidestones. On that, it says, and you want to think carefully because they're really good at double speak, maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature, guide reproduction wisely. In other words, humanity's as well as all life. This is what they're saying. They want to control everything, improve fitness and diversity. They are and have the ability to AI every living thing on the surface of the earth and upload it into the cloud, their clouds of Google and the other cloud, etc., so that they can now play God. And they feel that they're more qualified through their false god, Lucifer. So they want to unite humanity with a single language, with a rule of reason, tempered reason. In other words, their reason, which is insanity. It's psychopathic reason. Rule, passion, faith, and tradition. What they're saying is they want to get rid of these. Get rid of passion and love of God and Christ. Get rid of faith. Get rid of tradition. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Laws and courts for us. For the top 1%ers, nothing at all. They live a utopia. And we live a dystopia. Let all nations rule internally, resolve external disputes in a world court. So you little tiny nation states, separated communities, etc., only connected by the internet and a world court, thus avoiding petty laws and useless officials. Right. So, balance personal rights with social duty. Social credit scores, what they're talking about, tied to digital currency. Price, truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite cloud. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Yep. Bring human population down in small little communities. These Satanopaths are in charge of these programs, have been doing this to the world, American people, using the U.S. military for decades and even centuries. So to let people know about that's actually fact. You can go look up Bad Blood and read the book by James Jones, in which the Tuskegee study, where people that Native Black African Americans, had syphilis, and they wouldn't allow them to get treated even when they left the Deep South. Additionally, a higher form of killing by Paxman and Harris is a book that was published with great acclaim in 1982. It was one of the things that really opened my eyes. And has a new epilogue, and it includes the breakup of the former Soviet Union, and it goes into chemical and biological weapons and the acquisition of these weapons by third world states. Yeah, it's set up by the Pentagon, the deep state. So the attempts, and it shows the use of these weapons, use of them in terrorist attacks and other things. This is exactly what they want it to do. What's happening in Ukraine and what's been found in the underground labs are dark science studies of mixing humans with DNA of animals and creating subhuman monsters, and also as well as the adrenochrome highway that spirals in and out of the Ukraine. So, what we are dealing with, people are probably seeing this, they live moment in which we're starting to see them just like in the movie They Live, the way they really are. I mean, these things, what we have is an invasion of monsters, psychopathic beings that are horrific and evil. So you can see this creature here, whatever the heck that is. What we're dealing with is not human. It's not, of this world. So we need to stand up and come together as the human race and fellow brothers and sisters in Christ to repel this invasion. Through the years and around the world, half human, half animal beings have been found in tunnels and domes in New York, Australia, and many other places during this war throughout the world. The Island of Dr. Moreau, written by H.G. Wells, is not a fantasy, it's a D-class. The Russian invasion in Ukraine is an assault on the New World Order depopulation agenda. U.S. Inc., cabal, CIA, funded by U.S. taxpayers. So if I recommend people watch this video by Dr. Celeste Solom and Dr. Lee Merritt, going deep into all of this. The deep state globalists realize that charges of crimes against humanity are going to be filed against them very soon. Therefore, they have accelerated their timetable and are pushing for nuclear war now. believing that most people will perish in the cataclysm. Their dastardly deeds will be forgotten, overlooked, and buried in the ashes. They have murdered over 5 million already with their deadly jabs. Not only is the jab poison and an mRNA clot shot, it is also loaded with graphene oxide and other graphene-type materials, which conduct radio frequencies and other frequencies that will upload people to the dark web on the internet. The Biden crime family and many other deep state families are pissed at Russia and Putin because he spoiled their grift scheme in Ukraine. The BlackRock head of the CEO admits this. Our new world order has failed, he stated recently. BlackRock CEO Chairman Larry Fink had admitted that the elites have failed to usher in the new world order following President Putin's invasion of Ukraine. Quote, the world is undergoing a transformation. Russia's brutal attack on Ukraine has upended the world order that had been in place since the end of the Cold War more than 30 years ago. Fink wrote in his letter to shareholders last Thursday, the magnitude of Russia's actions, quote, the magnitude of Russian actions will play out for decades to come and mark a turning point in the world of geopolitics, macroeconomic trends, and capital markets. In other words, their control. So I've copied this article. Highly recommend people go and read this article in entirety. It's really important. You can see he's really pissed.
No, yeah. You don't look happy. That's for sure.
I am. That's somebody that's really, 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 really upset. So I wanted to play this. This is what they're trying to do, is control the narrative on us. And we got to realize this is just a pack of lies.
But in his annual shareholder letter today, Fink issued a warning to his Davos buddies, saying the Russian invasion of Ukraine has put an end to the globalization we've experienced over the last 3 decades. Companies and governments will also be looking more broadly at their dependencies on other nations.
What's fascinating, Laura, is this is economic globalization. This was supposed to make us all live in utopia. And here we have an architect of it, and he's saying, 2 or 3 years ago, he would say, capital chases labor and production costs anywhere in the world where they're the cheapest. And now he's saying, we can't do that. And I think he's saying that because of now.
So I want to note how they control the narrative with people. They show you, they don't say what this is. They just show you burn.
The order of history is not calm, it's not peace, it's not cooperation. Unfortunately, and tragically, it's war, it's revolution, it's plague.
They're trying to control this narrative, and it's a bunch of bunk.
Yeah.
It's true if we buy into this lie. This is a lie. It doesn't have to come about. This is how they control us, through our minds, of getting us to buy into their narrative, and that literally through the power of our soul and the ability to be co-creators with God makes it come into being. We cannot buy into this narrative that the satanic globalists want us to believe and go into World War III. This is not our future. We are never created to live depressed, defeated, guilty, condemned, ashamed, or unworthy. We are the followers of the one God of all creation. We're created to be victorious. To remember who you are, you need to forget who they told you to be. We will be victorious. Nothing can stop what's coming. We must stand together in this war against the deep state cabal. This is why they demonify this man. He made abortion illegal after 12 weeks. Stop CNN, stop Facebook, built 30,000 churches in 30 years. Wants Soros dead or alive. It's obvious why the left wants you to hate him. And what do we have? This is what we have over here, this type of leadership. How bad is it? Yeah, Big Mike, ask him. Ask Barry. They know about the laundering. Yes, we do now. We know about the laundering in the biolabs now. We certainly do. And I wanted to share this. This was something I read that was on Before It's News. My contact in China has translated it below in Chinese. I'm going to share that document now that he wrote this entire thing out. This shows you the kind of monster, the covenant they take with their false evil god, Satan. It's really powerful. This is important that everybody realize this. An illusion it will be, so large, so vast, it will escape their perception. Those who will see it will be thought of as insane. We will create separate fronts to prevent them from seeing the connection between us. We will behave as if we are not connected to keep the illusion alive. Our goal will be accomplished one drop at a time so as never to bring suspicion upon ourselves. This will prevent them from seeing the changes as they occur. We will always stand above the relative field of their experience, for we know the secrets of the absolute. This is how they look at themselves. They look at us as pond scum, and they're a different species that are superior to us. We will work together always, and will remain bound by blood and secrecy. Death will come to he who speaks. They swore a death oath on all this. We will keep their lifespan short, their minds weak, while pretending to do the opposite. We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways so they'll never see what's happening. We will use soft metals and aging accelerators and sedatives in food and water, and also in the air. They will be blanketed by poisons everywhere they turn. The soft metals will cause them to lose their minds. We will promise to find a cure from our many fronts, yet we will feed them more poison. They won't even let people that know of things that can help, like me. I got my hands tied. I have a lot of solutions that I've through my 44 years of martial arts, and I can't share them now. So I can share links of the doctors that are doing things like Dr. Artis and things, and Zelinka that are putting out.
Yeah, they're coming on our show next week.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
The poisons will be absorbed through their skins and mouths. They will destroy their minds and reproductive systems. From all this, their children will be born dead, and we will conceal this information. The poisons will be hid in everything that surrounds them, and what they drink, eat, breathe, and wear. And I'm having to change to all cotton clothes now because things are starting to bother me because I get near shutters and it's all skinny and itchy, my clothing. We must be ingenious in dispensing the poisons, for they can see far. We will teach them that the poisons are good, with fun images and musical tones. Those they will look up to will help. We will enlist them to push our poisons. They will see our products used in film and will grow accustomed to them and will never know their true effects. When they give birth, we will inject poisons into the blood of their children and convince them it's for their help. We will start early on when their minds are young. We will target their children with what children love most, sweet things. When their teeth decay, we will fill them with metals that will kill their mind and steal their future. When their ability to learn has been affected, we will create medicine that will make them sicker and create other diseases for which we will create yet more medicine. That's why pharmakia is actually black magic. If you look up the word, it means witchcraft, black magic. We will render them docile and weak before us with our power. They will grow more depressed, slow, and obese. And when they come to us for help, we will give them more poison. We will focus their attention towards money and material goods, excuse me, so they may never connect with their inner self. We will distract them with fornication, external pleasures, and games, so they may never be one with the oneness of it all. Their minds will belong to us, and they will do what we say. If they refuse, we shall find ways to implement mind-altering technology into their lives. They even use Stockholm Syndrome and kind of things, create a global Stockholm Syndrome, like 911, you put in shock, 19, you put in shock and on. They're even saying that now. Then they actually go and they put forth crazy rules. This is how you do it, how they did in Korea with the military personnel, the prisoner of wars, where you made meaningless rules. You put a sheet of plastic and with a 4-inch hole and say it's going to stop something that's 0.1 microns in size, nanometers in size, and all of this ridiculousness. So the rules, people get cognitive disassociation, where they can't understand things anymore, and then you can make them believe anything. We will, and then you terrify them. We will use fear as our weapon. We will establish their governments and establish opposites within. We will own both sides. We will always hide our objective, but carry out our plan. They will perform the labor for us, and we shall prosper from their toil. Our families must never mix with theirs, so they can target our genome. In other words, our blood must be pure always, for it is the way. We will kill them We will make them kill each other when it suits us. We will keep them separated from the oneness by dogma and religion. We will control all aspects of their lives and tell them what to think and how. We will guide them kindly and gently, letting them think they are guiding themselves. We will foment animosity amongst them through our factions, like BL, Black Lives Matter, etc. When a light shall shine among them, we shall extinguish it by ridicule or death, whichever suits us best. We will make them rip each other's hearts apart and kill their own children. We'll accomplish this by using hate as our ally, anger as our friend. The hate will blind them totally, and never will they see that from their conflict we emerge as their rulers. They will be busy killing each other. They will bathe in their own blood and kill their neighbors for as long as we see fit. We will benefit greatly from this, for they will not see us, for they cannot see us. We will continue to prosper from their wars. It's what they do. And they create war and prosper, and they control both sides on the conflict. This is the first time they haven't been doing that. And they prosper from our deaths. We shall, so they say, we will continue to prosper from their orders and from their deaths. We shall repeat this over and over until our ultimate goal is accomplished. We will continue to make them live in fear and anger through images and sounds. We will use all the tools we have to accomplish this. The tools will be provided by their labor. We will make them hate themselves and their neighbors. We will always hide the divine truth from them, that we are all one. This they must never know. They must never know their man's color is an illusion. They must always think they are not equal. Drop by drop, we shall advance our goal. We will take over their land, resources, wealth, exercise total control over them. We will deceive them into accepting laws that steal the little freedom they will have, like all this 19 baloney. We will establish a money system that will imprison them forever, keeping them and their children in debt. That's the fiat world banking system and the Fed. When they shall band together, we shall accuse them of crimes and present a different story to the world, for we shall own all the media. We will use our media to control the flow of information and their sentiment in our favor. When they shall rise up against us, we shall crush them like insects, for they are less than that. They will be helpless to do anything, for they will have no weapons. We will recruit some of them to help us carry out our plans. We will promise them eternal life, but eternal life they will never have, for they are not of us. Sorry, there's a few typos. Realize this is a Chinese gentleman in China translating this and transcripting this. The recruits will be called initiates and will be indoctrinated to believe false rites of passage to higher realms. Members of these groups will think they are one with us, never knowing the truth. They must never learn this truth, or they will turn against us. For their work, they will be rewarded with earthly things and great titles, but never will become immortal and join us. Never will they receive the light and travel to the stars. They will never reach higher realms. In other words, ascension. They're trying to keep us from ascension. For killing of their own kind will prevent passage to that realm of enlightenment. They will never know. The truth will be hidden in their face, so close they will be unable to focus upon it until it's too late. Oh yes, so grand the illusion will be that they will never know they are our slaves. When all is in place, when all is in place, the reality we have created for them will be their prison. They will live in self-delusion. When our goal is accomplished, a new area of domination will begin. Their minds will be bound by their beliefs, the beliefs that we have established from time immemorial. But if they ever find out they are our equals, we shall perish them. This they must never know. If they ever find out that together they can vanquish us, they will take action. They must never, ever find out what we have done. For if they do, we shall have no place to run. For it will be easy to see who we are once the veil has fallen. We can see it falling. Our actions shall have revealed us who we are, and they will hunt us down, and no person shall give us shelter. This is the key secret covenant by which we shall live the rest of our present and future lives. So this reality shall transcend many generations and lifespans. This covenant is sealed by blood. our blood. We are the ones from heaven to earth came, the fallen ones, in other words. The covenant must never, ever be known to exist. It must never, ever be written or spoken, for it is the consciousness it will spawn, will release the fury of the prime creator, the God of all creation. Yep. Upon us we shall be cast into the depths from whence we came, and remain there till the end of infinity itself. So that's why I wanted to share this amazing and powerful document. It's a really incredible item. And then let me go back to my other document. Oh my goodness. It kind of fell away. Sorry. I've got to bring it back up and figure out where I was.
Good.
Hold on.
You're good.
So that covenant is so important to realize the kind of monsters we are dealing with, and really understand what we're up against. So let me go back to my original document here for people. Appreciate the patience.
Yeah, that's no problem. Yeah, when you get opportunity, email me that, because I want to post it under the Gene Decode section. Yeah, that's incredible, Gene.
Right away. So, for example, 23 years, these three guys invaded 9 countries. Their victims exceeded over 11 million souls. What I don't understand is why none are calling them terrorist murderers or dictators. Yeah, bye-bye.
Mm-hmm.
And bye-bye. And guess who's next? For 23, duplication. Hi, I'm Kathy Farr, former clerk, TWP clerk, current county election supervisor in Michigan. I've been arrested for election fraud, charged with ballot tampering, misconduct, and offices during the 2020 primary. I'm due court, but mainstream media isn't going to cover that, are they?
Mm-mm.
So this is exactly what that covenant is talking about. Our money's fake, our debt is fake, our two-party political system's fake. Most of the stuff we've been told is fake, even as I've learned in high-level physics and mathematics. Once you realize this, what you thought of as a reality begins to look like some kind of ridiculous cheap B movie. The left, like this, the left impeached a president for trying to expose a crime. Then they replace him with the guy who really did. Like the laptop is now proving.
Yep.
Ukraine is the keystone that will bring all of this down. It's already bringing in Jassara. Russia is in 6 countries are on the gold standard now. Russia is now on Jassara. The Russian gold standard, 5,000 rubles to 1 gram of gold. MasterCard and Visa are gone from Russia, along with McDonald's. Western line journalists are gone from Russia. There's a crime now in Russia to print lies. The ruble backed by gold, this has been reported March 29th, 2022. The Russian central bank returned to the gold standard by pegging gold to the ruble. Russian central bank resumed its gold purchases from local banks on Monday. It set a fixed price on precious. This sets a fixed price on gold. It doesn't allow gold to be inflated anymore. Also, the Russian central bank, the value of gold could fluctuate. When I was young, it was $32 an ounce. Look at what it is today. That's just the hijacking of our wealth. The Russian central bank fixed it at 5,000 rubles, which is $52 per gram, on March 28th. And June 30th, the bank set up, and June 30th. I don't know what that means, sorry. This is below the current bank value of $68. More updates inside Russia as things unfold. So you can actually go to Reuters. Here's the Reuters and see the report on this. One of the main government officials in Russia on Telegram, Dmitry Medvedev, I'm not going to pronounce that right, stated the following. What else is there? Yes, of course, the departure of luxury segment sellers from our country. What to do now? Without the opportunity to buy bags of fur coats for 7 million rubles, is sarcasm, obviously. This is an irreparable loss, and the euro as the world's main reserve does not look like such a fantastic prospect. What kind of reserves are these if the obligations on them are frozen and actually defaulted by the will of insane politicians who are ready to bring their taxpayer dollars to the altar of an unknown victory in the war to the very last Ukrainian? Who needs them in this case? They do not even want to take them as payment for contracts for fuel prices. The era of regional currencies is coming. no matter how much anyone would like, they will have to negotiate a new financial world order. And then the decisive word will be for those countries that have a strong advanced economy, healthy public finances, and reliable monetary system. And by no means for those who endlessly increase their public debt, issuing into circulation new pieces of paper, not backed by national wealth, fictitious obligations for which the decrepit authorities can refuse to pay at any moment. And here's a link to that and everything else on the gold-backed dollar. The gold-backed, by the way, in 2018, House resolution that did not clear HR 5404 put forth a bill to fix the US dollar to a fixed amount of gold. So on to the war. As I had said, the Rus, which are in this area, the Carpathian, are wanting to have independence as well. However, the Russians are holding themselves to being east of the Dnieper, with holding areas of, and I'll go into that, for not allowing for those areas to be reinforced in the Donbass and Luhansk and other areas. Ukraine is a major part of the third largest industry. The first is guns, second is drugs, third is human trafficking. And international child sex trafficking runs through the underground tunnels buried deep beneath Ukraine. All of Ukraine, with the hub being Chernobyl, and Biden owned the property, and the Nazi government controlled Ukraine for much of this. The first action Putin took when invading the country was to rescue children from those underground tunnels and arrest their perpetrators. In Russia, all anti-Ukraine war protests have now stopped. New York Times has admitted that now. This is due to sanctions against Russia. Actually, sanctions, like many people are realizing, backfire by the Western powers and NATO. And Biden's calling for regime change. They are wanting to destroy Russian sovereignty, and now the entire Russian people see it with Biden's statements and all of these sanctions. They're now massively behind Putin, who now has an 83% approval rating. That's over double what Biden has. The ruble can gain in strength in over all Western currencies. Putin had to invade when he did. As the they had planned to release another pandemic from a Ukraine lab the week after he invaded. He knew that if he didn't invade at that time, we would have been under it again. But Putin stopped this by confining his assault first to the rescuing of the children and the 33 biolaboratories in Ukraine that are putting out deadly pathogens the Nazi Ukrainian want to unleash from Russia upon the Russian people and the entire world. The Ukrainian Azov and Adar Nazi troops have done massive, horrific war crimes to Russian POWs. So their claim that this was Russia and Putin and the Russian military is the opposite is true. There's actually pictures. Stu Peters showed one of a young 12-year-old girl, and they carved a swastika into her chest. These monsters. Since the globalists miscalculated, they have now moved on to plan B. Control the narrative, in other words, to start a nuclear conflagration with Russia. We can't allow this. We got to get the truth out with Russia by first attempting to launch sorties and create a no-fly zone. Russians are using long-range hypersonic missiles. The Russian military, the quote from the Russian military says it has carried out a new series of strikes in Ukrainian facilities, long-range hypersonic missiles. The Russian Defense Minister, Major General Igor, and I won't pronounce this right, sorry, Konashenkov said Sunday that the Kinzhal hypersonic missiles hit a Ukrainian field port. This is a little while back, but I just wanted people to know this. The Russian military hit a depot, ammunition depot, in the foothills of the Carpathian Mountains. This is a little bit of footage. Let me share this. A little bit of footage here, real quick. If I can find it. It's not coming up. Let me go back here. Sorry.
You're right.
Got it here. Okay, let me select that and try again. Okay, that up. Okay, this should work now. If my computer will catch up with me.
Gene, was that part of what happened that they're trying to sell everyone on at the railroad station or whatever, or where like over 50 Ukrainians were killed? Is that what they're trying to do, is to connect the dots and pin it on Russia?
No, these are the hypersonic missile launches that were done on the Carpathian Mountains area.
Okay.
But yeah, it's also going into Kharkov and the Donbass region as well. But they're lying about what's going on in that factory, and I'll go into that.
Gotcha. Wow.
Высокоточными ракетами воздушного наземного базирования уничтожено 5 баз хранения горюче-смазочных материалов в районах населенных пунктов Радехов, Казакин, Просиная, Николаев и Новомосковск. В данных объектах осуществлялось снабжение топливом военных группировок украинских войск в районах Харькова, Николаева.
So that's the type of missile launches and things that they've done.
Mm-hmm.
That's the. I haven't had time to screen check that to see if it's actually the one that's the one for the Carpathians, but that's the type of thing I'm saying. Good. The Russian. So let me go back to my document here.
Hey, while you're doing that, Gene, in the chat, Sylvia, who sent you some, or says that they sent you some dumb damage photos in the UK, would like to know if the UK is still clean now, please. So I don't know if you know Sylvia.
Still in process.
Okay.
So the Russian Defense Ministry also said it killed 100 members of Ukrainian special forces. Those are all of the Nazi forces, mercenaries, which targeted a training center in Obrech in northern Ukraine with these sea-based missiles. The hypersonic missile, which destroyed a large storage site for fuels and lubricants in Ukraine and settlement in this area here. The Defense Ministry also said that Mariupol now is completely in Russian hands. There's still a slight bit of fighting, so that's not 100% on. The older people have been meeting the Russian military with flags and cheers. Mercenary near in Donbass region are near collapse. And the fake media, I recommend people go watch these ridiculous videos the videos are ridiculous. It's the mainstream media, and a woman goes through this eloquently and shows all of this fake media, like the Ghost of Kiev, which is a video game, explosions, which are from video games, footage, which is from other countries. Also watch Putin's talking to some stewardesses, head stewardesses for the airline industry, the Russian airline industry. And then on the some of the fake stuff going on, I wanted to show people some of the kind of stuff I'm talking about here. So let me play this really quick here and share this. This is kind of thing they're seeing that's going on. This is an example of what I'm talking about here.
Прямо сейчас мы находимся в Мариуполе под обстрелом украинских боевиков. Вы слышали?
Still wrong.
Прямо сейчас. Нет?
No. No.
Сейчас мы находимся под обстрелом украинских боевиков в Мариуполе.
Yeah, right. Sure. Oh yeah. I mean, it's literally, this is insane what is going on. It is absolutely insane. They're green screening a lot of this. This is total garbage. I mean, it is absolutely ludicrous. So
that's hilarious.
Ukraine and Donbass. Ukraine dumps and tunnels. That was interesting. In Odessa alone, this is a map of the catacombs, over 2,500 kilometers of catacomb tunnels in Odessa alone. The Ukraine Slovakia, there's a 700-meter long smuggling tunnel that had a narrow gauge railway in it, which was revealed in July of 2012. That goes between Uzhhorod, Ukraine, Visny, Nemki, Slovakia at the border of the tunnel. Used professional mining equipment to build that and security technologies. In Kiev, there's catacombs as well that are over 1,500 years old. The first passages were created in an underground monastery and cemetery for monks. Cells were later added to the holy relics as well. Fortified tunnels were created as all the way up into the Soviet era to hide access to key points to the city. And then they added in maglevs. The Kiev catacombs are a peculiar mix of antiquity and modern things like maglevs. There is also the Nikolskaya and Askeldova drain systems, which were built in 1916 by the current reigning Nicholas II Tsar of Russia at that time, with the aim to create an artificial soil drainage. This catacomb has 2 layers and a total length of 3 kilometers. It was the gem of the Nikolaya system royal well at the time, a 22 or 72 meter or 72 foot high underground waterfall that led to a second floor of the passage. The Alkalov drain system serves the same purposes, but is a much older gallery from the middle of the 19th century. They've been building stuff under this country for thousands of years. It's the most complicated and interconnected drainage system in Kiev. It resembles a natural cave with numerous salt deposits and outposts. Stretches for 108 feet, along with their subway system, which is massive in Kiev as well. Near Kiev and Lavra, and goes down the hill to the Parkova Road and Dnipro banks. Look at that thing. It's amazing. There is massive, over 10,000 kilometers of tunnel systems in Ukraine. Look at this map. This is the tunnels, maglevs, over 2,500 kilometers of maglevs lines alone.
Wow.
From Odessa, straight shot to Kiev maglev, and straight over to Chernobyl. And then you got these straight shots you see are maglevs. When you see something that straight, that's a maglev. These straight shots, this is some of the biolab stuff. And then you got, that's Mariupol down there. You've got the Dnieper. You've got all of these straight shot maglev systems that are very going into the Donbass and Luhansk. It is massive. The United States helped the neo-Nazi Fourth Reich asphalt battalions into positions in the Kiev government regime of the new Ukrainian regime in the 2014 military coup of that government at that time. In what was exactly the standard BLM Antifa-type terrorism that toppled the voted-in governments and replaced it with Comrade Zelenko. I'll use that because he doesn't want the letter Z used. Okay, dude, your name's now Zelenko. Despite the fact that many considered the Azov Battalion a threat to world security and an enemy of human civilization, it had links with the Ukrainian authorities, but also with the United States and the Bari Shabazz, a.k.a. Barry Soetoro, a.k.a. Barack Obama. The Nazi Azov continues to dare down humanitarian corridors from Mariupol and others in Ukraine and place snipers in positions in residential buildings to kill those trying to use them. This is a Azov soldier. There's the Black Sun Nazi patch.
Wow.
Uniform.
Yep.
This is the primary reason that non-military targets are suffering destruction is they put these snipers in. Additionally, they use people as body shields, increasing the non-combatant losses, these groups, these monsters. Despite this, the care of the Russian military has greatly reduced losses. Normally in a conflict, a war, civilian losses is 5 to 1 combatant. In this one, it's 1 to 1. One only needs to look at the U.S. and the UN running its campaigns to see the divergence and the difference, not to mention NATO. NATO is nothing but an offensive organization like in Ireland, an amazing Irish young woman talked about in her testimony. This organization, all it does is regime change, like Libya with Gaddafi, Iraq with Hussein, not to mention Serbia, Somalia, Afghanistan, etc. want to remind people that 26% of Ukraine is Russian people. Russians are amazingly good at what they do. They have destroyed in Ukraine as of 31 March. I recommend everybody watch Nicholas Daniel with David Mahoney. It's really good, as well as this link, which is incredible. They have Ukrainian losses is 560 billion, 77 helicopters. This is just 31 March. 124 aircraft, 214 drones, 1,750 tanks, armored vehicles, 184 military 184 multiple launch rocket systems, 1,640 special military vehicles, 730 field artillery launchers. Not only that, the NATO allies, Germany and that have been sending stuff are running out of stuff to send. Germany and others are saying, we're running out. We don't have more. Their stockpiles are running out. That's how good the Russian military is. Russian military has never been beaten in the war, not by Napoleon, not by the Nazis, even back to the Tsars. In the Ukrainian military, it's the using of human shields that are increasing the body count of civilians and targeting from civilian areas and using them like underneath hospitals, underneath schools. They have labs. And they have dumps where they're taking children in there. That's why there's civilian losses. In Mariupol, the Azov are now using Greek people as human shields. So I highly recommend go watch the Duran. I'll pull this up really quick so you can see a little bit of it here.
Here is another video update, and
so if we go to 850.
Well, Doug, and NAZIs using the people, many of which were Greeks, using the Greeks as human shields. Mitsotakis does not mention that either. Mitsotakis also said it was a touching call for help from Zelensky. He said today is a dark day. But
what he's referring to here is that in Greece, Zelensky and Nuland are going there. They took an Azov Nazi dude into the parliament to make testimony, and he was saying that the Nazi groups are heroes and all of this. It's a dark day for Greece. It's a terrible thing that is going on here, and all of these lies. This is how they play us on and on and on. We need to realize the truth, and it means that everything they say is a lie, unless you get behind their narrative. So we don't have to get behind their narrative of World War III. Nothing we have to do. The Russian forces are fighting in they're excellent. They're fighting in a Caldon style, which creates a pocket fight. They find pockets of Ukrainian force and munitions supplies and surround them and slowly attack. This maneuver saves lives of civilians, while at the same time the Russian forces are able to rescue and bust out Ukrainian civilians. However, unfortunately, in this maneuver, Russians are taking heavy losses because of the body shields, because of the sniping, conscripting Ukrainian citizens to be in the military. So they're suffering a lot of losses. It's not the blitzkrieg type of shock and awe came from Iraq when we went in and carpet bombed that place with missile, weapons that would literally shred humans down to a quarter, nothing bigger than a quarter inch. People can go research that. That's fact. The style of attack, this style of attack, the Russian military is the only way to see the Ukrainian country. You're not seeing a devastated war zone like Iraq. Right. You're seeing buildings, infrastructure are not torn apart and heavy collateral damage like what the U.S. did in Iraq, Somalia, Afghanistan, and on and on and on. Russia is not tearing up the Ukraine as the deep state media is reporting. The areas not in the Cauldron style, such as Kiev, are done to contain forces that could be used to reinforce the Donbass and Luhansk area. So they're just in containment. They're not going in there in a massive all-out, wipe out the city of Kiev or any of the other stuff that the mainstream media is constantly saying they're doing. The real war is in the east, It's been ignored by the mainstream media, which the Russians continue to advance. In Mariupol now, there's only 3,000 fighters left, and that's a few days ago. So they're fighting in precincts of the big factories and big battles in the factories. There's some dumps under there. Those are entrances to huge dumps with labs. Mm-hmm. They're crawling along from Vizim, going southward. They've gotten bridges over the rivers in there. They're busing out civilians, the Russians, through the railway station. The Ukrainian Azov are flying in with helicopters trying to get the materials out of there so they can't prove what's there. Right. And the head of the Azov military is there. They're trying to get him out of there.
Is that Major, was it General Roger Collitor or something along those lines by chance? Is it Collitor? That's a big major that was over there. That's exactly what you're speaking of.
Yep, that's the one.
Okay.
So everything the mainstream media is putting out is a pack of lies. This is an extremely powerful set of information here. I recommend, it's very long, but I highly recommend I'll play a little tiny chunk of this just to give you an idea.
To another session of the Corona Committee.
So let me go to the 250-hour mark here.
And what is this again, real quick, Gene?
This is another video put out by a group that mostly reports about COVID-19.
Uh-huh.
So, but they're going into the Ukraine as well.
So what about the residential neighborhoods that are being, now we come to the problem. They're being bombed not because Russia says, hey, I want to bomb a residential area. They're being bombed because the Ukrainians have decided to turn their residential area into a military target, either through making its line of defense there or putting logistics, etc. that requires an attack. So what casualties are taking place on the battlefield aren't because the Russians have decided to undertake a course of action that kills civilians. It's because the Ukrainians have decided to create a battlefield where the civilians live. And this is problematic because the international humanitarian law, the laws of war, prohibit the use of human shields. And this is exactly what the Ukrainians are doing by allowing civilians to be integrated into the battlefield. The Ukrainians are creating a de facto human shield. And so when all these allegations out here about war crimes, this, war crimes, that, at the end of the day, if you dig deep into every single one of these issues, you'll find more often than not that the problem isn't Russia, but the problem is Ukraine. And again, this all plays into perception that's being portrayed by the media that is negative towards what Russia is doing. We're not here to cheer on the Russians. They made a geopolitical strategic decision that they have to explain to the world. So they tried to justify it through Article 51, preemptive collective self-defense, I believe.
So that's that, and he goes into that really eloquently. A lot of good information, so I highly recommend people watch that in entirety from at least the 2 hour, 50-minute mark and go and see the entire content. A lot of that before that time frame is all on 19, but it's really, really good. So that's especially start around the 250 mark and the depth of the lies. Then from Stu Peters, proofs of this false flag type stuff. Let me share that a little bit. Yeah. Why isn't that coming up? Oh, probably because I don't have my screen up. It's not loaded up yet. My computer's been slow, sorry. So highly recommend people watch this as well. Really good information. And Stu is, an amazing individual. He is just fearless.
There's a big push in the press right now to label Vladimir Putin a war criminal. That's concerning for a whole lot of reasons. Joe Biden, or whoever's pulling his puppet strings, leading him around, changing his diaper, is calling for Putin to become
oh my God.
After World War II. What's actually going to happen, but we should worry about where all of this is going. Pfizer, butt slut, sellout, globalist, neocon Lindsey Graham, the warmonger, is calling for Putin to actually be targeted for assassination. But to understand, the purpose of all of this is to lay the groundwork for an intervention in Ukraine. Military-industrial complex is salivating over an intervention, and then, of course, regime change in Russia. If they try that, we don't get regime change, by the way. We'll get a nuclear war instead, but nobody seems to care about any of that.
So we need to get behind this and get this stopped and nipped in the bud. So I really appreciate you getting me on today to reveal the lies and to get behind the truth of what's going on in the Ukraine and to understand the truth so we don't buy into this garbage. Remember, Biden does not have the football. Mm-hmm. He does not have the ability. Also, additionally, in 1990 through 1994, when I was stationed on Fort Island and Pearl Harbor, I was seeing the SSBNs coming in and unloading their nuclear missiles. So there's a lot of things that we're being told about nuclear war that's not possible. Mm-hmm. Additionally, the Starlink system, it has SDI capability worldwide. So what they're pumping can't happen. We need to stand behind the truth. So in the video circulating throughout the mainstream media, soldiers in Russia, soldiers can be seen carrying children out of the domes into daylight that they haven't seen in years. They're dirty, beaten, and abused in every way.
Well, some of them probably can't even come up to the top anyway because their whole existence has been underground. Is that correct? And sunlight can damage them, or?
Yeah, a lot of them, they're completely covered and wrapped in blanket. But you can sometimes see that they're the ones that haven't been there so long are holding teddy bears and stuffed animals. And we're talking over 35,000 children now. The Russian general said, we're not leaving till all the children are rescued.
Amen.
Yeah. So you don't go into a conflict and having thousands of teddy bears and stuffed animals, unless you know ahead of time, you don't carry that into battle. And they're showing, pulling Russian phones off of Russian soldiers' bodies. You don't go into war as one of the top military on earth. I can guarantee you this. And have your cell phone on you. They won't allow that in battle. And then they showed the Ukrainian soldier picking it up and turning the phone on, and it goes, "Hello, Mom." Really? A Russian soldier's phone goes in English. "Hello, Mom." I don't think so. And it require, they have apps there that require, a code and all kinds of bio data. It's not going to be, it's the Ukrainians that are doing it. As soon as they use it, the Russian military target and come in and remove those elements. So obviously they had expected to find tens of thousands of children in those domes. There's been massive alliance victories during this too. In Serbia, the election of Alexander Vucic, and Hungary, this is huge. Viktor Orban, re-elected, criticized Zelensky and Soros in his victory speech. He said, they left at home the international left all around, the international left all around, the Brussels bureaucrat, the Soros empire with all its money, the international mainstream media, and in the end, even the Ukrainian president. Orban said, we have won a victory so big you could see it from the moon, but certainly from Brussels. This victory will be remembered for the rest of our lives because so many people ganged up on us, including the left at home, the international left everywhere, the bureaucrats in Brussels, all the funds, the organizations of the Soros empire, the foreign media, and even the Ukrainian president. One has to ask the good Lord how it can be that we had the best victory when everyone was lined up against us. This victory means that regardless of tactics and guile, the heart always wins in the end. We won because we have the common passion. We have a common passion, hungry. The greater the victory, the greater the need for humility. And let's face it, we need humility today. Amen. President Putin has already congratulated him. Viktor Orban also addressed this message to George Soros. He called him Guri. And he said every cent that they gave to the Hungarian left was wasted money. It seems that the Hungarian left was the worst enemy, worst investment of Uncle Guri's life. So there's some videos you can go and look at that information. There's documents that show it here in the reports on it. EU is now sanctioning Hungary because of the election. I mean, really, somebody's election, and you're going to sanction them, and it's like, let me just share this.
Good morning, everybody from Albany.
So that's in the Duran. I'll share that. And I recommend people follow him. He's really quite amazing. He's really good on reporting things and the information and all that. So I got to look at my timestamp here where I wanted 4:30. Sorry about that. I got to reshare now. I forgot to look at my timestamp beforehand. Sorry.
No, you're fine.
So 4:30. Where are you?
This is the tweet that he sent out after the elections. If Hungary really votes overwhelmingly against democracy and for corruption, I cannot see why it should be accepted in the EU. Kick it out. Listen to what this guy said, what this joker said. If Hungary votes overwhelmingly against democracy, these are the blue check mark.
Yeah, mainstream media control. They're saying they're bloating against democracy and for corruption. It's total garbage. This is the mainstream media, garbage. It's literally insane how they do this. So go on to the document again. I wish they had the Zoom the way they had it originally. You don't have to keep sharing and unsharing.
Oh, I know.
Fix it, make it really hard to use now. Make it so it doesn't flow.
It made us waste about 15 minutes trying to.
There's more sanctions to be announced.
Yeah.
Existing sanctions have been judged to be inadequate. The U.S. government is freezing Russian reserves. So Russians are calling for non-payment to bonds. The EU wants to reopen old coal mines. That's not going to be done overnight in Australia. So on this video, I'll share this now. The 824.
Welcome back, everyone. We've got a lot of news to get through, but I'm going to start with a video that's making the rounds in Russia, of course, on state media.
So I recommend people watch this one, really good as well, at the 824 mark. It gets very interesting. It's got a lot of good information here.
The US dollar is going to take a bit of a hit. Russia coal and oil paid for in yuan starts heading to China. This is from Bloomberg for you people who are allergic to Russia Today. But same news is, of course, now circulating Russian channels. The EU Parliament passes a symbolic vote to ban Russia energy imports. The European Parliament on Thursday passed a symbolic vote demanding a total ban on all Russian energy imports into the EU, as member states closed in on narrower sanctions against Russian coal. Although the motion is non-binding, Roberta Metsola called it a very important moment that sent the strongest messages to Ukraine on the degree of EU symbolic support, EU support. Several EU states wanted to go further by also banning Russian oil, but others whose economies are highly dependent on Russian energy supplies, Germany among them, resisted. At the expense of European allies in the Ukraine crisis. Published the 4th of April, time of recording is the 8th of April. This has been a few days, but I've seen it whispered around.
So we're doing what?
Comments on YouTube, in some YouTube videos such as...
I want to remind people, when companies buy oil from another country,
right?
When a company in a country does this, that oil is paid for. It's on the high seas. It's put down in reserves in the U.S. For the gas prices to suddenly go up, no, they're scalping you. It's a bunch of baloney. Hundreds of thousands of barrels are on the high seas and in the ground and in storage facilities in the U.S. You put in sanctions, the very next day the cost goes up. Not possible. They're scalping. They're playing it. Because, why? Because they don't have the money streams of Ukraine. Their money bag has been cut at the neck.
Mentioned this, and the only article that I could find was, in fact, a Chinese one. Of course it was. And of course everyone said, but that's propaganda. It's China. I think to the rest of the report was very confident. In contrasting move to its pressuring of European allies to not buy Russian oil against the backdrop of the ongoing Ukraine crisis, the US increased crude oil supplies from Russia by 43%, or 100,000 barrels per day over the past week, Russian Security Council Deputy Secretary Mikhail Popov told Russian media on Sunday, with critics pointing out that the US pursues its own interests at the cost of its European allies.
Yeah, wow, what a bunch of baloney. You see how they control the narrative and lie, they lie.
Yeah.
Total garbage. Don't buy into it anymore. This is ludicrous what's going on. They're trying to play us again. We're not going to do it this time. Let's stand up and say no more. Mm-hmm. The sanction lever is broken. It's not working anymore. China has refused to sanction or pressure Russia.
Ooh, that's going to be interesting.
Helicopters into the Azovstal steel works to evacuate someone there. The Russians use the expression commanders of the Azov battalion. That, of course, begs all sorts
about the helicopters. He's going into that. Sorry, I forgot to look at my time mark. Oh, I didn't give a time mark. But if you watch that whole piece, has all the information on China not buying into that. He goes through the details of the war in really, really well. He's part of the Duran, it's called. Highly recommend you subscribe to him and to the other one as well. Really, really important information and powerful information. So
that's awesome.
We go back to document now. The Decode. Hunter laptop exposure is now sworn in evidence by Matt Gaetz into the congressional record. The CNN, Washington Post, and New York Times are going after Hunter and Joe on the laptop. So look at that.
Hey, speaking of that, I talked to Jack Maxey yesterday. He's the one that released the 450 gigs. That was
80,000 video and pictures.
So he's probably watching us right now, and I've been trying to get him on the show, and also I want to release all of it.
Absolutely. Get this information out. Stay safe, sir.
Thank you.
Make sure you've got people to keep your back safe. I know you've left the country because you fear the deep state of the U.S. Wise move.
Yes.
Stay safe. We need to cover him in our prayers.
Amen.
He is. Yep. Additionally, on that laptop is not just pictures of underage children while he's having a bunch of drug-related experiences, let's put it that way. Additionally, with the election fraud, Steele is in there. So the one out of Ukraine, the Vatican, China, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It will show currently in power have used massive payoffs. And this is against the original 13th Amendment, let alone a massive amount of other laws. The original 13th Amendment read, if any citizen of and they have that, Trump and the Alliance have the original Constitution. I want to remind people of that. If any citizen of the United States shall accept, claim, receive, or attain any title of nobility or honor, or shall, without the consent of Congress, accept and retain in any present, pension, office, or emolument of any kind, whatever, from any emperor, king, prince, and I underline foreign power. And then I'm putting this in bold to bring it to attention. It's not how it read, but I'm making sure you understand. Such person shall cease to be a citizen of the United States, Joe, and you can't hold presidency as if you're not, and shall be incapable of holding office, any office, or trust to profit under them or either of them. So the disappearance of the 13th, the original amendment with what we have now, as you can see here, is a total travesty. people can go into this video and learn about that amendment item. I recommend you go to, let's go to we'll just go to a little bit, 444 and 511.
Okay.
And
Government Biden is panicking as 80,000 deleted images and emails from Hunter's laptop from hell are about to be published. In this video, we're taking a look at
We can't see it.
I've got to find the share is a painful thing here.
Sorry.
To do it. Let's see. I should be on it. So yeah, there it is. So this is what we're talking about here.
Got you.
444 and 811 is the meat of this.
really isn't about Hunter, it's more about Sleepy Joe and what increasingly appears to be a number of illicit dealings that involved old Joe. And of course, what's so interesting in all of this is that the legacy media, for whatever reason, is finally reporting on this, however tepidly. Stories are starting to come in, leak throughout the legacy media, and they don't have any choice. Jack Maxey from Steve Bannon's War Room, who has access to the hard drive from the laptop, has fled Switzerland in order to.
So there it is, like you were saying, Chas.
Yep.
Yep. And look at this article. Oh my goodness. It is hitting, and their lies are coming out. For nothing that is hidden will remain hidden.
He's very detailed. Let me tell you, kudos to him. I know that he was kind of, we have some White Hats on our side, and he was wanting to know how I got his number. And I got it from the internet, from what we do over here. And it's, man, I tell you what, he was kind of shocked to actually that I want to do this. And he said it's already out to some degree, and he's put it on Telegram, but it's not getting the coverage. That's why if I can get Jack on the show or get access to the files, I'll release them all to the world, and we will pump it out hard.
Let everybody do it.
Amen. Amen.
Came out, they reported that the picture includes a number of other international CEOs, as well as Hunter's associate Jeff Cooper, a longtime former managing partner of the law firm Simmons Cooper.
So on that, people need to be aware of this. The Pelosi's son, Kerry's, et cetera, that ties to a lot of people. There's going to be heads to roll here. So, there's a lot of things going on. I love these videos here. The truth is coming out. So let me share this. It's really amazing. That, the truth about the mandates and all this is just a bunch of garbage. It's not true at all. The truth is coming out.
Amen.
There we go.
It's hard to find. It's hard to find these in Florida. You gotta look hard. But if you know where to look, you can find it. So I brought this, right. So unfortunately, we have a country right now where most people, including, this is across the political spectrum, think that these things are saving lives. So in medicine, in science, we have something called levels of evidence, okay? And we've got our high level evidence and lower levels of evidence. And our highest level of evidence are clinical trials. So to the doctors who tell you that these things save lives, ask them, what did the two randomized clinical trials that we've done during the pandemic, what did they show?
Yep. What did they show precisely? And then also I wanted to play the other item, two more items revolving around that. Additionally, so there are some good governors out there.
You don't have to wear those masks. I mean, please. So want to wear it, fine, but this is ridiculous.
That's awesome.
Oh, ridiculous. Not only that, but even more so from the monster's mouth. Hear this.
But she's had the flu for 14 days. Should she get a flu shot? But we all know if she got the flu for 14 days, she's as protected as anybody can be, because the best vaccination is to get infected yourself. And so if she really has the flu, she definitely doesn't need a flu vaccine. If she really has the flu, she should not get it again. No, she doesn't need it, because it's the most potent vaccination is getting infected yourself.
That's funny right there. I don't care what you say.
How two-faced you are, don't we?
Oh my goodness.
From his very mouth. Oh my goodness, don't buy into their narrative. It's total garbage. Additionally, the Navy SEALs have won their case and are wanting to go to the Supreme Court, so people can go to these and see the information. It's asked the Supreme Court to intervene in the mandates. We all know the Department of Justice, the DOD have falsified data in that case, and the curves and all of that. That is treason, and that should go to the Supreme Court. Not only that, there's truth coming out about the Queen's death. That's actually been reported now. You can go to this YouTube link and see that. So we need to get our fire back. It's not over until God says it's over. Don't stop believing. Start dreaming again. Keep pursuing what God puts in your heart. There's a line between your dream and reality. It's up to you to draw the line. Peace and harmony are with the one who learned to wait as he prays and never loses his patience. We're in God's time. For God's time is the best time. It's the time to know that there's only one God of all creation, and that God is intervening because of what they've done. Like they said in the covenant, if the truth comes out, the one God of all creation will intervene. And truth is coming out. And so now God is intervening, the one God of all creation, and through the power of his infinite hand, we're going to watch this cabal crumble. He will not allow us to fail, to fall. Our faith in him and in each other, and respect and truth and honesty, and being kind and considerate and respectful, but knowing that where we go one, we go all, we're all one, like their covenant. They don't want you to realize that. Realize it, stand for your neighbor, stand for your brother and sister in God and Christ. Many, many people are reporting that, the wars and all of this is just a way for us to kill our brothers and sisters in Christ. We need to stand tall, stand proud, and we are created not to be shamed and guilty and all of this other stuff and be blamed for everything. It's this monster cabal of non-human monsters that fell to this planet, and we will get them gone into the courts of God, into God's courts, and this will be done once and for all. This is the last war. And then I wanted to just say that, focusing where you focus, this is why they're controlling the narrative, will create reality. They are soulless and cannot do so. They need you to do so. So if you want to focus on war and the Armageddon future, that's a choice. That choice creates a resonant field which vibrates the quantum packet. If you look at Nassim Harame's scaling law, below the Planck is a distance packet of information is the quantum packet, which is literally the consciousness particles of God coming from the singularity that is at the center of every particle, person, planet, star, galaxy, everything. It is the seat and the throne of God. And through that, we can manifest anything we want. So I used timeline before, but people get confused with timeline for a job you're doing or something. So it's actually a parallel reality. You will create a parallel reality by focus. So the parallel Earth, like we had mud flood terminated and tucked into this one, the Mandela effect is real. Gentleman even showed the Bernstein Bears and Barstein Bears in parallel realities from room to room was shifting. He would go from room to room, and the screen on his laptop would change. This is happening now. Where you focus, how you focus is pivotal. You don't have to go through Armageddon. You can go and ascend. The time frames I put in where that happens, the rapture in the Bible or the shift, the ascension point, the CME, all of that can be for those that need to go through it. They will. If you need to go through Armageddon, you focus on it. You get every choice that can be made. God is infinite. Is made. It creates parallel universes, parallel Earths, parallel realities, what you resonate with and you combine with and you manifest. And so in the manifest of a world of peace and respect, and all of this gets cleaned up, and all of this human trafficking ends forever, and this bio stuff and genetically engineering and all of this garbage, we end this for now and forever. And we end it, and we start now by envisioning a world, and you would watch that event, the CME, for you, if that's what you lock onto and you hold that vision, you will literally manifest it so smoothly that when you go to fourth and fifth density and you go to the upper heavens, it will be so smooth. Fourth is not a lot different, other than it seems like people are way more kind, and there may be a whole lot less people around, but you wake up and go, wow, better and better and better. And wow, that was resolved. You prayed peacefully. It came to the brink, but and everything, and the Biden got smoked out of there. That's why I call him Smokey Joe. Is going to get smoked out. Bye. And then you're going to watch, the real president come back, and all of this stuff. It can be so smooth, you won't even notice it as you go in ascension. You won't notice it. For them, yeah, they'll notice 3 days of darkness and fire falling from the sky. Sure. You can have reality. That choice is yours. Just because the book of Revelations has that experience. And some people literally are raptured out. For them, it doesn't occur. Remember that. It's biblical. Mm-hmm. It doesn't occur. Whether I say whatever books are missing doesn't matter. It is biblical. It is in there that people don't experience it. For them, it's smooth and seamless. They go into the higher heavens. They rapture out, or whatever you want to call it. They go to fourth density, fifth density. At fifth density, the world is beautiful. All this is gone. Will be looked back in history as the ones that stood up against the monsters and the satanic monster pedophile people that wanted beings. I don't even know if I can call them people. They're soulless monsters that wanted to engineer the earth such that God was not involved, so that they can control it from the cloud of their AI web. So with that, that's what I had to share. And I wanted to remind everybody to focus on God. And, for me, it means coming to the feet of the cross and accepting Jesus Christ. But the only one God created all things. There is no being named Lucifer that created this. He's a local aberration of a monster that fell to this planet. We don't need to focus ourselves there. We need to get back what God created for us originally and get on the gold standard first. All of this is happening. We're watching it unveil. We'll watch it. If you focus on it, it'll get to the brink, and then the laptop will take Biden out, and we'll have a new, series of elections, and we'll watch. They don't even have somebody to run. They're polling people for, Biden or Harris. The percentage is 12% for Harris and 23%, 22, depending on the poll, for wanting him to run again. And after this comes out, it'll be 1 or 2%, 3%. Like they've said, you can't wake up some people. At this point, they've created so much cognitive dissonance for some people, are so mind controlled that if they were to say in the media that the sky is yellow with pink polka dots, some people would believe it. If you can believe that a plastic screen with a 4-inch hole in it is going to protect you from something, I mean, you're just totally, totally believe anything. So I'm good, Chas.
I appreciate you, man. I tell you what, you put it to the test. I didn't talk much because I was over here doing tech stuff, making sure this thing didn't come crashing down. But thanks to your help, Gene, we accomplished what we've been trying to do. We officially hit over 1 million live viewers. Just want you to be aware.
Praise God. Get the truth out around the world.
Amen. Appreciate you, Gene, as always. Please send me an email on what we covered today, and I'll put that along with your contact information. Well, with on your channels and so forth. And thank you as always. God bless you, Gene. Thank you.
God bless you, Chas, for getting this done so quickly. I'll send you a PDF of the document.
Awesome.
And also of that covenant that I wanted to say. I can't mention his name.
Sure.
He's translated that document and transcripted that document from English to Chinese. Thank you, sir, for your. And he will probably be watching this. How he does that in China, I don't know. But
well, I got an idea about that. So yeah, that would be insane if we can work something out here. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Blankety blank blank blank.
Right.
And as you say, the 2CP is breaking. There's you got to realize that, like Cassidy says, the military has split in it. Our government has a split.
Yep.
There's the mainstream people think, and then there's who's really is. Same thing goes in China. You have Xi, who's the alliance, and you have the 2CP, as my Chinese gentleman says, because he can't say the real words, who are a bunch of thugs and thieves and Satanists and all of that, just like Putin says, who's alliance, that they are Satanists. They do worship Satan. They do consume human little children and do monstrous, evil, terrible things. And they have for a long time. Part of that's Khazarian that spread across the earth, that they're an ancient evil that fell to this earth. And this is the final conflict, and we will prevail. God always wins. God bless you all, and Godspeed.
God bless you, Gene.
Turn it over to you, Chas.
No worries. I appreciate it. We just cut off on our main platform. I've got to start ending this now. Gene, as always, we'll be in touch 100%. We'll get another date when we can get you back on at your convenience. But God bless you, Gene. Thank you, and have a wonderful day, sir.
Thank you, sir, Chas. And contact me towards the end of the month. We'll schedule something for me.
Sounds good. Thanks, Gene. Be safe.